Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, June 14th, and I'm here for my weekly cross-stitching update. I've got a good amount of things to share with you, even though this past week was pretty busy with real life, so I don't have a ton of progress on each individual thing, but we'll still share what I managed to do. So first off, I do have a few Happy Mail, Stitchy Kindness type things to share with you. One is I received some floss from a floss fairy, which I'm very excited about because, as you know, I started Keslin's Cross Stitch Fun, and I had some Victorian Motto floss, and I have a full 20 yards of it. I'm doing it 1/1, but I realized I don't think that's going to be enough. And it's an older month floss of the month floss, so I was not sure where else to get it, but I had a wonderful floss fairy who gave me a skein of hers, so I was very excited about that. And yay! So I'll now be able to stitch the whole thing without worrying about it, and I'm very excited. So thank you! I will definitely, I'll put this in here with my other one. And I have another, this is only 10 yards on this bobbin, but I do have another 10 on another bobbin. So I'm good to go. Now I have 40 yards. And that's how many the model used, or 1/2, 140 count, which mine is 1/1 on 28, so it is a little smaller because hers would have been the equivalent of 20 count stitches. So I probably won't need all 40, but maybe 35? I'm not sure. So more than 20, that's for sure. So thank you. I'm very happy to have that, be able to do the whole project in one floss, because that's like the perfect combo in my, when I saw the colors together, I'm like, yes, that'll be great for a monochromatic piece. So I'm very, very excited. I also got some more Stitchy Kindness from Debbie. She was destashing and found At the Met by Mirabilia. So this is exciting. I don't know exactly. I'm thinking I probably won't do her in the call for colors. So, and I may change her face too. She looks a little bit too snooty for me. I know a lot of them do look kind of snooty, especially the queens, which I do have, but her nose is really flat and, I don't know, pouty. So I think I might see if there's any face conversions as well. I'm part of the Mirabilia conversion group and the Nora Corbett conversion group and the Lavender and Lace conversion group on Facebook. So I'll look and see if anyone else has done any changes on this that I like, and if not, I might just play. See what I come up with. And she also threw in a really pretty thread, Gentle Arts Victorian Pink. Yay! So thank you. That's really fun. So I'll add that to my floss, fancy floss stash. All right, I also received this week the final installment of the Fat Quarter Shop's Prim Stitch series by Lori Holt. This one is Hands and Heart to God. So as you can see, there's a hand with a heart and some flowers and the obligatory quilt star. This is the last one. I'm all caught up with the rest of the series, and so I do need to, decide what to do, because my normal travel stitching that happens during the school year is now over. So my summer travel time is sporadic. I do get a little bit, but not as much as during the school year. Or not as consistently, I guess I should say, as during the school year. So I'm thinking, because the Flea Market Flowers Stitch Along is happening right now during June and the first week of July, I'll go ahead and keep working on that as long as the Stitch Along is going. And then I'm woefully behind on the pace that they're doing at the Fat Quarter Shop. But I'll stick with it and post my progress every Wednesday with the Stitch Along. And then when that ends, the first week in July, I think I'll stop, work on this one, the Prim Stitch series, to get it completed so I can maybe make make the doll blanket of all the pieces for my daughter this summer so she can start to enjoy it right away. So I'll get this done in July and then go back to Flea Market Flowers when this is finished. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So while the stitch along for Flea Market Flowers is happening, I'll keep working on this and chipping away on it every little bit. So speaking of that, I'll show you where I got to on this one. So this is what I'm speaking of, Flea Market Flowers. You've seen this on quite a few channels lately. This is also by Lori Holt at the Fat Quarter Shop. I was just recently watching Amanda over at Alba Stitching, something like that. She's in Scotland, and she was sharing a couple places where she managed to find Lori Holt patterns overseas. So if you are overseas, maybe check out her video and see where you can find some of those things in case it's too hard to get them shipped to you from the source. So I am using all the called for ingredients, 25 count barley even weave, and the called for DMC. But I am doing mine 1/1, so it's tiny. So this is compared to last time. I'm almost done with part 1. I have this green on my needle right now because I was doing I was finishing my threads. So I did these centers of the flowers, and you started this flower to finish my thread because this is going to be part 2 over here. And then these stems, I had more threads, so I did the stem on this one. So I will come back and do these leaves next. That's the last part, the last section I need to do on part 1. And then I'll do the borders and focus on part 2. So it is cute. I am enjoying all the pretty colors. This came together really nice. A lot of stitching in there, but it does look really cool. So I am enjoying that. It is just going a lot slower than I kind of mentally geared myself up for. So I cannot keep up the pace that they are doing. And if I also want to stitch on other things. I think if they were planning to do like this 1 week, 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 and that's realistically for me, I would probably need to work on this most of the time to stay up with that. And I wasn't anticipating that level of stitching. So I have too many other things that I want to work on for my main projects. So this will stay a travel project, and I'll do what I can. I'll truck along, you know, as best as I can for the next, I guess, 4.5 weeks of the stitch along, because they're well into part 2 now. I think part 3 is supposed to be posted this Wednesday. So I'm still working on part 1. So that's okay. It's really pretty. I will keep plugging away at it and see how far I can get by the end of the summer. That's kind of my goal, is to maybe shoot. I probably won't finish it by the end of the summer, but it'd be nice to get a good chunk of it done, because once the school year starts, I would like to switch over and work on my advent animals in the car as travel stitching. But knowing me, I'll probably want to get this done first. So I'm hoping to make some decent progress on it, so that once the school year starts, I can maybe just wrap it up pretty quickly, maybe in August. August is still summer, right? My kids go back like the second week of August. So I'll still have some summertime stitching while they're in school. So that'll work great. So that's kind of my plan for that one, and it's coming along. I also did a little bit more on my temperature typography, which is my current temperature design. I'm working on my next temperature design, almost ready to release, and I had the hiccup when I tried to put it in Pattern Keeper. So I'm still kind of working the kinks out on the formatting, but maybe soon. Sometime this summer, I'd like to release that one. So this is where my temperature typography is now. I got the J done for June. So just like April and May are short months, June and July are also on the same row, and then I believe everything else has its own line after that. So just these ones in the middle have a doubled up line. So here's June. We started out fairly warm and then it kind of cooled down again. And this is like in the 60s again. So, however, most of this U will be 80s and 90s, but the N for sure. And maybe even the bottom of the U because will be red. Because we're gonna have summer this week, officially. Starting yesterday and today's supposed to be the 90s, and I forgot to check before the video, but yesterday it was predicted tomorrow and Wednesday will be 109, and the next 3 days after that will be low 100s, so it's gonna be hot. Part of me hopes that one of those days pops up into 110 just so I can make sure to get my hottest color, because I'm using the hot key on my the hot symbol key for the temperature range, which the highest color is 110 or more. So those are days that I really want to stay inside in the air conditioning, of course, but it's fun to be able to stitch those colors at least a few times. So, but we'll see. We still have all of August, July and August left. So it's very kind of rare that we get that hot in June. So it's the year has been very strange because it's been a very cool spring and early, like late spring compared to other years. And now it's gonna have this huge spike here in the middle of June, which is a little bit unusual. So usually we get our hottest temperatures in August. So, but it'll make for a colorful design. So there you go. And I hopefully won't need to go too many places. I'll stay inside where it's air conditioned. So feels like forever since last Monday when I worked on my Mill Hill Monday, but this is, I'll pull this out again today, I guess. This is my buttons and beads project now that I just started last week for Mill Hill Monday. I finished my winged monarch, now I'm working on hummingbird, and let's see, let's get this. This is my start. So how they recommend you start it is you draw with a pencil on the back to find your center. And since this one, with the butterfly, I started in the center. You can kind of see that through the perforated paper there, but you really can't see it in person. Anyways, for this one, since it had kind of a rough bottom and a crisp top, I decided I wanted to start at the top. With the butterfly, the whole thing was like this, where it was scattered stitches around the whole edge. So it was fine to start in the middle, and I just focused on the butterfly at first, and then I put everything else. With this one, I want to do top down, like a full coverage, because the top part of this is mostly full coverage. There is like an outline around the hummingbird and a few stitches here and there that are not stitched. So I went ahead and counted up to the top corner, and I put in 3 links of floss, and they were short links because I'm using the kit floss, and I believe they're in 1 yard lengths, and then I doubled it over for a loop start, so there's 3 like 18-inch lengths on 14 count, so it gets used up pretty quick. So I think I'll do some color completion possibly. So I'll finish this color, you know, all wherever it's found, and then I'll move to the next color that's found here. Because it's such a small space, I'll just go ahead and it's easy once you pull a color just to keep using that color. So I think I'll color complete and choose symbols from the upper corner until that symbol is done, and then I'll do the next one, including beads. So if one of these symbols ends up being a bead, then I'll do all the beads of that color. Because the way that these buttons and beads work, at least how the last one worked, is most of the beads are recommended to be applied with a different color DMC. So like a green bead would have a green DMC to attach it. And I liked that. So I think I'm just gonna do top down symbols and with cross stitches and beads at the same time and just see how it goes. So I'll do a little bit more on that today and probably maybe shoot for a color, finishing that color. So we'll see how that goes. All right, And I guess I have my daily piece. I could do that now and before we go into the regular focus pieces. This is my new focus 21,000 stitches in 2021 focus piece that I'm going to be doing at least 65 stitches every day. It's a tongue twister. 65 stitches. I finished Quick Stitch Iris, and so for that challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics, if you finish the piece you start the challenge with, then you can continue the challenge with a new project. Normally, you have to stick with the same project for the entire year for the 21,000 stitches in 2021, but with the only exception is if you finish one, then you can pick up a new one to complete the challenge. So that's what I decided to do because I really wanted to get Iris done. So I wanted to focus on Iris, and now I'm going to focus on this one. My goal on this one, in an ideal world, and potentially I can do it, I didn't actually count up, but I would like to finish the sky this year. That would be really nice. So what I did this week is I had a bunch of parked threads over here in the rocks that were getting in my way when I wanted to just be working on sky. So I decided to go ahead and stitch in the parked threads, and I did. I got them all done. And then I came back here and did a little bit of sky as well in the last couple days. So it's exciting. I didn't realize these were trees. I think I might have even been starting the trees because some of these dark colors right here were also in the trees. So I've started a little bit on the trees, and this rock, the mountain right there, has gotten a start as well because some of the edge stitches that were along here ended up being in that rock. So that's what you'll see when I show you. So here is, I'll put it up here, Waterfall in Yosemite, and this is 18 count Ada with 2 strands. I want to make sure the coloring is right. But yeah, so I had an up close one. I'll compare maybe a up close picture with this so that you can see all the parked threads that got worked in, filled in more of the rocks, and came down here. I think this might be the start of some of those trees, and this is the start of that mountain. And the actual waterfall mountain is over here. So that's pretty cool. And then I came over here and did a little bit of this blue right here. So I did get more of the sky worked on as well. So yay, that's exciting. So going forward, I'll continue to do the top down, left to right symbol selection and work my way down. So we'll see how far I get this coming week with working on this just a little bit every day. So I'll do 65 stitches or more depending on how the stitches go. So if I'm doing a whole row, especially in the sky, there's some places where the row is really long. If I have like 60 stitches, for example, and I have another row to do, I'll probably just do the whole row and then I'll end up with 85 or something. And that's fine because I want to just finish the X's and move on. I don't want to leave them half done because I do, when I'm not using fancy floss and using solid threads, I'll do the Danish method maybe, where you do one half of the leg of each cross and then come back. So that's how I stitch on this one. All right, so here we go. My focus pieces this week all got a little bit shortchanged because I had a busy week. Life was just busy. So I did a little bit on everything, but not as much as I wanted to on anything. But that's okay. A little bit of progress is better than no progress. So the first thing I worked on was my Nora Corbett letter L fairy for my niece, and I'm doing a color conversion with a pink dress, a little bit more purple color in the L, and I worked on a lot of the L this time. So that's exciting. I'm doing this on the called for linen, which is 32 count water lily. And here it is. So I'll do that so you can see that, make sure it is green. Obviously the camera sometimes doesn't pick it up, but it's doing okay right now. So what I did is I filled in a little bit of this purple just to kind of see what that looked like. it looks a little more purple in real life. It's Highlands from Color and Cotton. So it's a nice variegated purple. And then I did, and it was kind of a shorter length, not a full length. And same with this green. I did a little bit of the green here and over here. And the rest of these vines will be beads. So I didn't do any beads this time. And then I decided to pick another strand of brown, which was a really long piece of brown, and I did all the way down here and over here until that ran out. So there's not that much brown left, but I just wanted to finish the string and be done because I was actually finishing this up on Wednesday. I worked on this on Monday, and I worked on my anniversary piece on Tuesday, and neither one of them got to where I wanted. I had hanging threads on both of them. So Wednesday, I had a little bit more time, so I decided to pick these both back up and get to a better stopping point. So I finished my brown string on this one and called it good. I'm hoping to work on this for 2 days in July. So that'll be fun. I'm hoping to get more done on the L and maybe even some beading. That would be fun. So if I don't get any of my other family pieces done in July, this one is at least getting worked on because that's the official birthday month of that niece. So I want to make sure to give it a little bit extra time on her birthday month. Then I worked on my anniversary piece, which is Soda Stitches by the Window in the Morning. This one's a little harder to find. Even when I go to the Etsy shop, Jeannie's Cross Stitch, I believe, on Etsy is the official Soda Stitch shop. It's not always listed. So if you want this, maybe go to Jeannie's Cross Stitch and just send them a message and see if they have one, because maybe they'd be able to get it for you. But I'm doing a little bit of a conversion. So far I've just been stuck up here in the window trying to get that the way I want it, because I'm doing mine as a nighttime scene to reflect the poem by Ernest Hemingway that Lindy Stitches used on one of her designs that I can't ever remember. I need to write it down, but it's something about reading while the stars are bright. So I need to write it down so I can quote it to you once in a while. But I got this almost all the way ready for the sky. I haven't done any of the sky yet, but I finished the curtains and I did this bush. So next time I can do the sky and then outline the curtains in the window so that it looks more complete. So again, kind of a slow plod on this one so far. I am enjoying it, but I'll give this a couple days in August. So here is where I got to. Let's see, over here on this one. This is on 18 count beige Devosa, which is an even weave, not an Ada. So it is a little bit, my stitches don't look quite as nice as they do on Ada, but it is pretty fun. So I think I did this side, so the little dots that were in the curtain on this side and these under shadows of the curtains, and then I went back and worked in this bush because I figured it would be easier to do the fill-in of the night sky once this was done. And then there's a little bit of green here that I finished as well with what was on my needle. So I have that thread on my needle still just because I could keep going into like the girl's shorts. This is part of a pillow right here, and the girl's shorts have it as well, and I think his book has some. So I'll work on that next time. I didn't want to keep going and try to count and waste time. So I'm like, it's already past time to work on it. So that's how far I got on that one. So next time I'll finish out that string, but then I'll go back and fill in the night sky, probably with a half stitch, and then backstitch the curtains. So I'm hoping, and then I can work on filling in all of the regular stuff. And I did do a little bit of a color conversion on a few of the colors that I thought were too bright. Some of these are still pretty bright, but when I was looking at them all, some of them were just like neon almost. And especially since I'm doing it on tan fabric and it's meant to be at nighttime, I wanted to tone down a couple of them. So it'll still be fairly bright and cheerful, but a few of them got a color a color adjustment to make sure that they're not like glaring at you. Okay, the next one I worked on, which was my medium piece for this past week, was Twisted Band Sampler. So this one I had slotted for Wednesday and Thursday, and I think, yeah, I did manage to get to it a little bit on Wednesday, and a little bit on Thursday, but it did not get as much as I had hoped. I managed to finish the specialty stitch band, which I guess is this one. I had just a little bit left on that, like this much, I guess, so a good amount of the last specialty stitch, and then I got started on the cross stitching band. Next, only one length of thread in the cross stitching band, so not a lot, but again, every little bit counts, right? So this is on the called for fabric, which is 32 count bisque by Lakeside Linens, and it's using the called for DMC. That's the pattern comes with thread colors for Dinky Dyes, Averiswa, and DMC. So I'm doing the DMC, and I managed to finish this 4-sided stitch all the way down here. It actually took like two and a half lengths of thread to finish that up, and then started in on 1 length of thread of the next cross stitch band. So each cross stitch band has 2 colors in it. So this is the first color. We'll repeat these motifs all the way down, and then there'll be another color with the similar motifs all the way down, and then I get back to specialty stitches. I'm doing the specialty stitches 1/1, but I like the coverage of 2/2 on 32 count, so my cross stitches are 2/2. I think if you were doing the silks, some of them might be thicker. I'm not really sure how that works. I thought sometimes silks were thinner, but I think sometimes you could do a 1/2 cross stitch with silk and it would look okay on 32 count. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I read the instructions. But since I'm doing DMC, I like 2/2 on 32 count. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so then I worked a little bit. I got back to my His Name is Jesus piece because I talked with Desiree, the Addicted Stitcher, on Friday, and since she is took a break from her regular pieces in the month of May to work on only Mirabilias, or mostly Mirabilias. So now that May is over, we came back to this one. This is by Joyful Expressions, and it's actually a free pattern when you sign up for their newsletter. And I am doing mine. It was fun to get back to this because it had been a little while, I guess a month, since we worked on it. And we're only working on it the days that we stitched together. So here's mine. It's on 28 count Ivory Lugana, and I'm not sure if I do it like this. Yeah, you can see the color a little better, although now you can see the thread behind it. I chose a mixture of some Victorian mottos from my stash. The pattern is charted with 3 different colors. They give you 1 or 2 suggestions, but I chose, you could do it monochromatic. You could choose a whole bunch of colors, which is I think what Denise is going to do, or Desiree is going to do. But I chose 3 so that when it selects one, I know which one they recommend would have a matching color, if that makes any sense. So I don't have to worry about the placement. I'll just pick 3 and put them where they suggest that tone should go. So I chose to have the His Name is Jesus wording in red. So based on that, and there was another one that was the lightest shade is the gold. So right now I'm starting Light of the World right here. But I finished Mighty God. I had like the O and the G left to do, and then I had stitched 1. I hadn't stitched that yet. And then I started in on the L for Light of the World. So this is the whole width of the design. And so now I'll pick some of these motifs on the next row, and eventually I can start working on the big one, His Name is Jesus. So it's fun to compare with Desiree because she started in the middle. So she's working on His Name is Jesus and has the word Jesus finished. We have a very similar stitch count because we're trying to stay fairly even, but it's very interesting to see how many, like what that same stitch count looks like in a different section of the design. Because the letters she's stitching are really big, so they take up a lot more stitches than the little letters that I'm doing. So it's it's fun to like compare the difference of the different fonts and how much the same amount of stitches, what it looks like in different sections. So we worked on that a little bit, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I worked on my oldest full coverage project, I think, for the Ancient Adventures challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics, and that's Princess de Broglie by Golden Kite. Again, fairly busy weekend and didn't get very much on this. I kind of expected to get more because it is a half stitch project, but I only got a little over, well, let's see. Yeah, 105 one day, 94 one day, and 158 the last day. So for a half stitch project, that's not great, but it's still progress. So it does help that I had the 3 days because then at least it didn't get completely shortchanged. At least I had 3 days of mediocre stitching instead of 1 or 2. So anyways, here is where it's at now. Let's see. Compared to last time. And I worked some in the background and a little bit in her face. All dark greeny gray colors. So we had, I stitched down here some, and then I chose a color that was kind of working its way along here. And there's more of this color down here, but I went ahead and just stuck with the top block and a half here because I wanted to focus on the top down. And then I had, this was a blend of 2 dark greens. And so I came over here and chose the 2 individual colors, and they had solid versions of symbols in her hair and in this eye in particular, I think. So there's a little bit in this eye and a little bit in the hair that was added as well. So slowly but surely, I got a little bit of progress on that one. This is on 28 count mushroom even weave by MCG Textiles. 2 over 1 half stitches. Alrighty. So I guess that is everything I worked on this week. So going forward into this coming week, I'm gonna wait and hold off on my last 2 family pieces until next week and plug those in to my medium spot next week, and have 1 day on each Knitting Woman and Dragon Ride. So that'll be next week. So this week I'll just have 3 main projects. I'm gonna have my small project. I actually have 2 new starts this week, so that'll be fun. My first project is going to be my Leaning Tower of Macarons by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I'm going to do it on this brown perforated paper to be a bookmark for my daughter. It's going to be a surprise. Probably give it to her in December, either for her birthday or Christmas. What I'm thinking of doing though, and to make it more bookmarky, is I'm going to shrink this dish to be closer in size to the macaroons, and instead of having them leaning so far over, I'm going to push them back just a little bit. They'll still be offset, but not quite so leaning, which I know goes against the title, but I want to make it a little straighter to be a better bookmark. So it'll be like this is maybe the most offset I want them. So then if I shift these guys over a little bit, you know, then it'll be, I'll make this plate be no wider than the widest offset, if that makes any sense, so that I can make it an even bookmark. And even if it's curved around the edges with them, it'll still be a little straighter and normal looking. So I think that'll be fun. So I'll get started on that and give that 2 days, today and tomorrow. So woohoo, new start. And then my medium piece will be my Celtic lady collage. And this is something, I don't think I put it together yet. I'm still working on the outline I was going to offer to you guys. So I can't remember how far I got on that. But what I'm going to do I have the physical patterns. So I can't give this full design to anybody because that's copyright infringement. But what I was going to do is outline around the edge of everybody in a backstitch. Outline the edge of the items so that you know where everything goes if you want to stitch it in this grouping. And then if you have the patterns on your own, then you can plug in the ladies where they fit in that structure. So at some point, I think I'll probably post it to my color conversions blog, which is linked below in all my description boxes. When it's ready, I'll post it there. So it's not quite ready yet. I'll let you know. I did actually convert the skin tones of these two, and I think I darkened her hair a little bit as well, to make it a little more diverse as well. So I'll be working on this week because the first official day of summer solstice for the Northern Hemisphere is the 20th, which is this Sunday coming up. And so I could have worked on it this week or next week, but I went ahead and did it this week. And so, since it's a medium piece, it doesn't fall on the weekend, so I can't do it on the actual summer solstice. But what I wanted to do is, here's my starting point. This is on 32 count lamb's wool linen by Witchelt, and I have the start of from spring with one length of petite treasure braid there. There's going to be beads in there as well, but I haven't done that yet. What I want to do is start in on the summer. So I'll probably work my way down here or come over, finish spring and come down here. I'm not really sure because the actual words summer are pretty low. So I may finish the word spring and start working on these to come down, or just work on some of the border pieces to come down. But I'd like to get to a start on the summer portion because it's the beginning of summer. Because I want to be able to work on each quadrant at some point during that season. So I need to be able to get down there. So it's kind of my plan. Maybe I'll come down here and then do this little guy and then this little guy, you know, or something like that. I don't know. So this is my starting point, which I showed you already, but I will do something on this week. 2 days on that. And then my large piece for this week will be another new start, just because I couldn't wait. So this is going to be me, Elegant Lady with a Bouquet. This is by Heaven and Art Designs. Artwork is Emile Vernon. And I wanted another piece that used 25 count fabric, 1/1 full crosses, which is what I was doing my quick stitch iris on. And I don't have any other of my 20 full coverage pieces are 1/1 full cross on 25 count. So I thought, you know what, I need one like that because it was really fun. This is a mini, so I figured this was a good one to do another full cross project. So, and I had a perfect sized piece of barley leftover, barley vintage cloth leftover from flea market flowers. So it was meant to be. So I will do an Elegant Lady with a Bouquet on 25 count barley, 1/1 full crosses. So I'm excited about that. I'll spend 3 days on her and get her started for you, or for me, but you get to see it next week. I think that's everything. Oh yeah, I had a few planning things for July. If you're interested, I can chit chat about that for a little bit. in Full Coverage Fanatics, they have in the past they've had Tour de France challenges, and this one, I wasn't sure if they were doing it this year because of the Olympics challenge was also this year, but I discovered they are still doing it, and it's slightly offset from the Olympics challenge. They're not at the same time. I mean, technically they are, but they're not. I'll explain. So I decided to go ahead and do both because the Tour de France challenge is one where you basically stitch the kilometers that they ride every day, and you can do it with them each day or just average it out. So what I'm going to do is do just the green days, which are sprinting days, I think. And that will be almost exactly the right amount of stitches that matches up with my daily stitching on Waterfall in Yosemite. I don't have to do any more on it to complete the green jersey. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that and feel like I'm participating without it affecting my other plans. So I'm planning to do this, and this starts on, it doesn't say on that paper. It starts in June here, at the end of June, on the 26th. It starts on the 26th and goes through some point in July. Here we go. The 18th of July. So in those days, I'll put my daily stitching towards the Tour de France as well. And then going forward into the Olympics challenge, they have created a bingo board. And this is a Full Coverage Fanatics event. So everything in here needs to be a full coverage piece if you're interested in participating. Although if you wanted to, you could just like play along for fun with your own, whatever you wanted to do. The goal for this is to get either 5 in a row or a blackout. If you want to do a counting version, you need to do 1,000 stitches on everything. I am not going to do that. That's just too much of a commitment. But in the past, I've tried for a blackout with like doing 1 day on each thing. And this year, I think what I'm going to do is only do a bingo. And so pick whichever row. I haven't fully looked into it yet to see which direction I want to try for. But I'm going to only do it when the Olympics start. So the event runs the entire month of July, but I'm going to start it. The Olympics start on the 23rd, and they go through August something or other. So since the August 8th, since the Full Coverage Fanatics event is only in the month of July, I'll start it on the 23rd and end it on the 31st. So what I'm planning to do, in order to get 5 projects, there's like 9 days in here. 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 days and 5 projects. So I'm going to do 1 day on the smallest full coverage piece that I choose, and then 2 days each on all the rest. And so I haven't decided which ones they are going to be yet, but that's my plan for the Olympics challenge. So these last 9 days will be Full Coverage Fanatics Olympics challenge, picking pieces according to the themes in a line for a bingo, and I'll do 5 pieces, which leaves the rest of my June a little bit more free to be able to work on Joan Elliott's Christmas stuff, possibly some more family things like that. So that's kind of my plan going forward. So let me know if you're interested in doing any of that too. So I think with that is everything. I'm excited to see how this week goes with all my family home. So we'll have to see. Things might get busy with activities, but that's kind of the way it goes. Life is more important than stitching, but stitching is definitely important as well. So we'll see how much I get done on everything. And I will come back, Lord willing, next week and share with you what I was able to do. In the meantime, enjoy whatever you're working on, and happy stitching. Bye.